Okay, here's something pretty striking. You graduate with a business management economics degree from UC Santa Cruz. And within about 10 years, you're likely earning more than the median household income in California.
Yeah, that's a powerful outcome. It's not just, a statistic. It really points to a tangible return, the kind of advantage I think you're looking for when you want solid knowledge without wading through endless jargon.
Exactly. So let's get right to it. We're doing a deep dive today into the Business Management Economics BA program at UC Santa Cruz. We've got a comprehensive guide here as our source material.
And our mission really is to cut through all the noise and pinpoint what makes this program stand out, what makes it valuable for you.
Right. We're focusing specifically on why you'd choose UCSE for business, what you'll actually learn in the curriculum, and, importantly, how the whole admissions process works.
We'll cover the first three main sections of the guide: the why, the what, and the how to get in. We're going to set aside the grants and scholarships details for this conversation just to keep things focused.
Perfect. So let's start with the why. Why study business economics at UCSC? What makes it different?
Well, the first thing that jumps out is its unique position. It's not like a standalone business school. It's this innovative blend of economics and business education right inside a respected public research university.
That's a key distinction. It shapes the whole experience, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It means you're not just learning the day-to-day management stuff in isolation. You're building all that practical knowledge on a really solid foundation of analytical economics.
I see. So unlike some traditional business programs that might heavily lean on case studies and immediate tactics,
Right.
at UCSC, you get those practical skills, but they're combined with this rigorous economic thinking.
Exactly. So think about what an employer sees. They see a UCSC business management economics grad, and they probably think, okay, this person can maybe execute a marketing plan. But they also understand the economic forces behind why consumers behave the way they do. They can analyze financial statements, sure, but they can also grasp the bigger macroeconomic picture affecting the company. The guide makes it clear employers really value that mix.
And then there's the location factor. You can't really ignore that.
No, definitely not. Being so close to Silicon Valley isn't just, a nice perk. It's a major catalyst. The guide specifically mentions how grads leverage this proximity for internships, for those crucial first jobs at tech firms, startups.
And it's not just coding jobs or purely technical roles, right?
Yeah,
The guide points out opportunities in finance, marketing, operations.
precisely. These are areas where having that economics background gives you a real edge. Imagine working in finance at a tech company, understanding macro trends, investment strategy impacts. That economics lens is incredibly useful.
And the proof is kind of in the pudding, with the documented success of alumni getting good jobs, even starting their own companies. We've got this image here of 3 students maybe that hints at the diverse group benefiting from all this.
Could be. And it leads nicely into another key aspect: how the program really focuses on preparing you for a career.
Okay.
The guide stresses this commitment to technical skills and hands-on experience, getting you ready for the, quote, real world. 2 things really stand out here:
What are those?
the integration of computing skills and this really robust field study program.
Okay, let's unpack the computing part first. It's not just an elective, is it?
No, it's required. Coursework in programming and information systems.
Which, in today's world, feels essential.
It really is. Think about it. Business is so data-driven now. Being comfortable with data analysis, with financial tech tools, it's not just nice to have, it's often expected.
So this makes UCSC grads stand out.
The guide suggests so. You're not just reading reports. You can actually work with the data, build models, understand the tech behind modern finance. We even see that picture of a student working with a professor on financial software. That's a great example of the hands-on tech training.
And the second thing you mentioned, the field study program.
Right. This is basically the economics department's internship program, and it sounds really well established. Students can earn academic credit while actually working on real projects in local companies or organizations.
So it's applying the classroom learning directly.
Exactly. You're not just talking about marketing theory. You might be helping a small business with their actual digital campaign, or analyzing real financial data for a local firm, not just textbook examples.
That sounds incredibly valuable. Building skills, making contacts.
Before you even graduate, the guide really emphasizes how beneficial and popular this program is. Highly recommended, it says.
Beyond those specific programs, what about research? UCSC is a research university, after all.
Good point. The guide highlights that too. There's encouragement for undergrad research and close interaction with faculty.
That sounds appealing. Getting involved in a professor's project, maybe even co-authoring something.
Imagine. That's a taste of graduate-level work, a serious resume booster. And it seems more possible because of smaller class sizes in the upper division courses and dedicated faculty advisors offering that personal mentorship.
So it's not just being a number in a massive lecture hall.
It seems not, especially as you get further into the major. It suggests a more interactive, intellectually stimulating environment.
And if we circle back to that initial stat about alumni earnings.
Right, you can see how it all connects. The blend of econ and business, the tech skills, the internships, the faculty interaction, it all builds up to graduates who are well-regarded and tend to do well financially.
So stepping back a bit, what's the special flavor of the UCSC program beyond location and curriculum?
The guide mentions an intellectually stimulating and supportive environment. That suggests a culture of critical thinking, but also one where students feel helped along the way.
And it's embedded in a liberal arts context.
Yes, which encourages broader thinking, not just about profit, but about how business intersects with society, with policy. It's a bigger picture perspective.
Does it open up other opportunities? Interdisciplinary stuff?
It seems so. The guide gives examples, electives in technology management, courses cross-listed with legal studies, so you could explore, say, tech and law from a business angle.
Interesting. And then there's something mentioned as unique in the UC system.
Ah, yes, the accounting concentration. This isn't just a few extra classes. It's a specific structured sequence of 8 courses.
8 courses, wow.
Yeah, and it leads to an official designation on your transcript. And crucially, it prepares you significantly for the CPA exam, the Certified Public Accountant license.
So that opens up a very clear career path.
Absolutely. Public accounting, auditing, tax. This concentration makes those fields much more accessible right after graduation by covering a lot of the required CPA material. It's a really focused, valuable track within the broader degree.
Okay, so summing up the why study here part.
Yeah.
It's a UC quality education, but with this practical twist. Strong analytical skills from the economic side, real-world experience, plus the UC network and those Silicon Valley connections.
That's a great summary. It captures that unique blend.
All right, let's shift gears. What will you actually learn? Let's get into the curriculum details.
Okay. The guide describes the curriculum as thoughtfully structured. It aims for both breadth and depth in business-related economics. Meaning you start with foundational stuff, economics, quantitative methods, and then move into more advanced business applications. Everyone gets this substantial core of economic theory and stats before they start specializing.
So there's a shared foundation for everyone.
Exactly. And the philosophy behind it seems to be understanding why things happen in markets and businesses, what the data tells us, and how to apply that knowledge effectively.
How is it taught? Just lectures?
No, it's a mix. Lectures, yes, but also smaller discussion sections, hands-on computer labs, team projects, and of course those internships through the field study program. A variety of methods.
Let's break down this structure. What are the foundational prerequisites, the lower division stuff?
Sure. First up, Econ 1 and Econ 2, principles of microeconomics and macroeconomics.
The basics. Why are these so crucial?
They're the building blocks. Micro helps you understand individual markets, how consumers and firms make decisions. Think supply and demand, market structures, pricing. Macro zooms out GDP, inflation, unemployment, how government policy affects the whole economy.
So it helps you interpret business news strategy.
Precisely. You learn why these concepts matter for business analysis. Teaching usually involves lectures with real-world examples, maybe analyzing a company's pricing strategy or the causes of a recession, plus problem sets to practice applying the theories.
Okay, Econ 1 and 2. What else is foundational?
Math and stats. There's a calculus sequence designed for economic students and a business statistics course that includes a lab component.
Ah, the quantitative side. Why these specifically?
They sharpen your analytical toolkit. Calculus helps with optimization problems, maximizing profit, minimizing cost, that sort of thing. Statistics teaches you how to interpret data, test relationships, make forecasts, essential skills.
So it's not just abstract math.
Not at all. It's applied. The guide mentions using statistical software in the lab, maybe analyzing sales versus advertising data using regression. Really practical stuff for business.
Makes sense. Anything else in that foundational layer?
Yes. 2 accounting courses. Econ 10A and 10B. Financial and managerial accounting.
Why accounting for economics majors?
Because it's often called the language of business, right? Even if you don't become an accountant, you need to understand financial statements, budgeting, costs. It's vital for finance, management, even starting your own business.
What do you actually learn?
How to record transactions, prepare things like balance sheets and income statements, and how to use that accounting info for decision-making, managing budgets, controlling costs. Often taught through problem solving, case studies, maybe even using accounting software.
Okay, so that's the foundation. Micro, macro, calculus, stats, accounting. What comes next? The upper division core.
Exactly. Once you have that base, you move into deeper territory. The guide emphasizes a required triad: intermediate microeconomics, intermediate macroeconomics, and econometrics.
Intermediate theory and
Focus.
econometrics. What's that?
Intermediate micro and macro build rigorously on the principles courses, often using more math to explore economic models in greater depth. You really sharpen your analytical skills. Econometrics is basically applying statistical methods specifically to economic data testing theories, forecasting, figuring out cause and effect. It's a critical skill.
So what kind of topics are covered?
In intermediate micro, maybe game theory to analyze firm strategy or advanced pricing models. In macro, models of economic growth, debates about monetary and fiscal policy. In econometrics, you learn regression analysis, how to build and interpret statistical models using real data, like looking at the relationship between education and earnings.
And these are required for everyone in the major.
Yes, this triad is core. Completing them also satisfies UCSC's comprehensive requirement for the major. It ensures everyone has that advanced analytical grounding.
Got it. What else is required in the upper division?
There's also a disciplinary communication DC requirement. You'd take a course like Econ 104 or Econ 197.
Why a communication course?
Because analysis isn't enough. You need to communicate your findings clearly, persuasively. These courses focus on crafting well-organized reports, making strong arguments based on economic analysis, presenting complex ideas effectively.
So practical writing and presentation skills.
Exactly. You might write research papers, policy briefs, give presentations, get feedback. Super important skills for pretty much any career path after graduation.
Okay, so after the required core, you get into electives.
Right. There's flexibility here. You take 5 upper division electives with some structure. 1 has to be in finance, 3 in business management, and 1 general economics elective.
Why that structure?
It allows for both depth and breadth. You can tailor your studies towards specific interests, maybe finance or marketing or tech, while still getting exposure to different areas.
Can you give some examples of these electives? Finance first.
Sure. Things like corporate finance, Econ 135, looking at company investment decisions, or security markets, Econ 133, focusing on stocks, bonds, and financial institutions.
And the business management electives. Sounds like a broad category.
It is. The guide lists a whole range: managerial economics, the intermediate accounting series, if you're leaning that way, marketing, business strategy, economics of technology and innovation, even machine learning for economists.
Wow, machine learning for economists. That sounds very current.
Definitely reflects the Silicon Valley influence. These courses are where theory really meets practice. You might develop a mock marketing plan, analyze financial statements for investment ideas, or study competitive strategy.
You mentioned the Silicon Valley connection again. Are there specific courses for that?
Yes, examples like economics of electronic commerce, e-commerce strategy, and that economics of technology and innovation course really tap into the local tech environment.
And the general economics elective. What's the purpose of that one?
It lets you broaden your perspective beyond pure business applications. You could take something like international finance, public finance, development economics. It helps you understand the wider economic context, globalization, government policy, things that definitely impact businesses.
So you could learn about exchange rates or taxation.
Exactly, important context. And remember, the accounting path students can use most of their electives for advanced accounting courses like auditing or tax to earn that concentration and prep for the CPA.
So lots of room to customize or specialize.
Or to explore different areas, build that interdisciplinary savvy.
What about learning outside the classroom? We talked about internships.
Right. The applied learning aspect is strong. Let's revisit the economics field study program.
How does it actually work?
Typically, you spend a quarter working 12-15 hours a week at an approved placement, a company, nonprofit, government agency. You enroll in a related course, Econ 193, have a faculty sponsor, and usually write an academic report or complete a project based on your experience.
Why is it so emphasized?
It directly bridges theory and practice. You build professional networks, it fulfills a general education requirement, and you learn crucial soft skills, teamwork, communication, problem solving in a real work setting. The guide stresses its popularity and value for getting job contacts.
Makes sense. What about labs? You mentioned those earlier.
Yes, statistical and computing labs often attached to courses like the Intro Stats Lab, Stat 17L.
What happens in these labs?
Hands-on practice with data software the guide mentions R, Stata, Python. You'd analyze actual economic data sets, maybe test investment strategies, forecast sales using regression, things like that.
So solidifying those tech skills employers want, like that image of students using a Bloomberg terminal.
Exactly. That's a perfect example of a professional-level tool used in a lab environment. Real practical skill building.
Is there an option for students who are really into research? Like a thesis?
Yes, there is. You can do independent research or a senior thesis, working closely with a faculty supervisor. It's optional, but great for grad school aspirations or just exploring a passion deeply.
What kind of projects do students do?
Could be anything. Modeling consumer behavior, analyzing local policy impacts. A successful thesis can count as an elective, and it's definitely a notable achievement to put on your resume.
Looking at the curriculum overall, are there any other unique features that stand out?
Well, the emphasis on communication, as we discussed with the DC course, seems pretty integrated. There's even a course called Economic Rhetoric, Econ 197. Imagine how useful that is for consulting or policy work.
That's interesting. What about global focus?
They encourage study abroad. You can get credit for up to 2 approved business-related courses taken internationally. Imagine studying finance in London or marketing in Tokyo.
That's a great dimension. And flexibility. Can you combine this major with other things?
Yes, the guide mentions pursuing a minor or even a double major. Common pairings might be tech management, computer science, maybe a foreign language. You can really craft a unique profile.
And one last point about the degree itself. It's a BA, not a BBA.
Right, a Bachelor of Arts in a social science. The distinction matters. UCSC seems focused on producing graduates who understand business tactics, yes, but also why they work within a broader economic and societal framework.
So well-rounded thinkers.
That seems to be the goal. Graduates with quantitative skills and a big picture outlook, ready for careers or further study.
Okay, that gives us a really clear picture of what the program entails. Now, the big question for many listeners.
Yeah.
How do you actually get in?
Right. Let's talk admissions. First off, UC Santa Cruz is a moderately selective UC campus. Academic standards are high.
But it's not just about grades, right? You mentioned holistic review earlier.
Exactly. They look at a lot more than just your GPA. The fall 2024 acceptance rate was around 65% for freshmen, and the middle 50% of admitted students had weighted UC GPAs between roughly 3.87 and 4.22. So academics are clearly important.
High-achieving students, generally.
Yes. But UCSC really emphasizes looking at the whole student. They consider your hard work, the opportunities you've had, extracurriculars, community involvement, personal qualities, not just the numbers.
So things like passion, leadership, resilience matter too.
Definitely. The guide mentions the university's rising reputation, especially in programs like economics, and of course, there's priority for California residents who also benefit from lower in-state tuition. Plus, its reputation as forward-thinking, inclusive, and having that amazing natural setting adds to its popularity.
What are the specific academic requirements? The AG courses.
Yes, like all UCs, you need to complete the AG course pattern in high school. That's specific years of English, math, history, science, foreign language, visual performing arts, and an elective. You have to plan your high school schedule to meet those by senior year.
And GPA.
Minimum for California residents is 3.0, non-residents 3.4. But realistically, for business management economics, the guide suggests aiming higher, maybe around a 4.0 weighted UC GPA given the competition.
But a perfect GPA isn't required.
No, but challenging yourself with honors, AP, or IB classes is definitely encouraged, especially in relevant subjects like calculus, economics, if your school offers it, statistics. Strong math prep through pre-calculus or calculus is really beneficial.
Does the econ major itself have specific high school prerequisites?
Not mandated ones, no. But showing strength in math and analytical courses certainly helps your application if you're aiming for business or economic.
Okay, so what about standardized tests?
Yeah.
SATs, ACTs?
This is important. UC Santa Cruz, like all UCs, is test-free. They do not require or consider SAT or ACT scores for admission.
So don't even bother sending them.
Exactly. The UC system eliminated them as a requirement. Scores won't be reviewed for admission decisions, may be only used for course placement after you're already in.
So grades, courses, essays, activities become even more important.
Precisely. AP or IB scores can still be reported for potential college credit after you enroll, but they won't affect your admission chances. Focus on the academics and the rest of your profile.
Let's talk more about that holistic review. What does UCSC actually look for?
It means they consider everything you submit. The rigor of your courses, grade trends, are you improving, extracurriculars, especially leadership roles, volunteer or work experience, special talents, and, really importantly, those personal insight essays.
Do they consider your circumstances?
Yes, definitely. Your context matters. Did you excel despite challenges at your school? Do you have significant family responsibilities? They want to understand who you are and how you'll contribute to the campus community.
So the application needs to show your genuine interests, your character.
And how you've made the most of your situation. The guide quotes UCSC directly. No admission decision is based on a single factor. It truly is holistic.
Okay, let's walk through the application components and timeline. It's the standard UC application, right?
Yes, for California high school seniors. It opens August 1st, and the submission window is November 1st to November 30th.
What about courses and grades?
You self-report them on the application, no initial transcript needed, but accuracy is crucial for your AG courses and how the UC GPA is calculated. Best to have your transcript right beside you when you fill it out.
And the essays? Personal insight questions or PIQs?
Right. You answer 4 out of 8 prompts, each response max 350 words. These are huge for the holistic review. They're your chance to show your personality, values, experiences.
Any tips for choosing prompts or writing them?
Choose prompts that let you talk about your interest in business economics, maybe leadership, creativity, overcoming challenges, community involvement. Be authentic. Use specific examples, show, don't tell. Proofread carefully. And definitely use them to convey why you want to study business management economics at UCSC.
What about activities?
There's space for up to 20 entries, activities, awards, work, volunteering. Use it wisely. Definitely include relevant things like DECA or FBLA if you did them, but any meaningful activity counts. Focus on leadership and impact. Quantify if possible. Quality over just quantity.
Is there space for anything else? Unusual circumstances?
Yes, an additional information section. Use it sparingly for contexts you couldn't fit elsewhere, like explaining a dip in grades due to illness. Keep it brief and factual, not another essay.
And letters of recommendation?
Crucially, UCSC does not require them for freshman applicants. Most UCs don't read them for general admission, so you don't need to worry about collecting them for the UC app.
Good to know. Application fee?
Yes, there's a fee, but fee waivers are available based on income.
What happens after you submit by November 30th?
Admission decisions usually come out around March. If you get in, the deadline to accept the SIR deadline is May 1st. And don't forget the financial aid deadlines, usually March 2nd for FAFSA and Cal Dream Act.
Okay, one key strategic question. Should you apply directly for business management economics or apply undeclared?
Good question. The UC app asks for a major. Choosing business management economics signals your interest clearly. Now, admission is to the campus generally, but this major is a screening major, meaning you need to qualify later.
So does listing it help or hurt?
Listing it ensures you get relevant info and are maybe guided towards the right prerequisites early on. Since any admitted student can attempt to qualify for it, and UCSC doesn't currently suggest it's impossibly oversubscribed for freshmen, there's likely no penalty for listing it if it's your genuine goal.
What's the argument for applying undeclared?
Flexibility. You have until the end of sophomore year to explore and decide. But, and this is key, you still have to take the prerequisites and meet the specific GPA requirement to declare business management economics later.
So it doesn't really bypass the requirements?
Not at all. And admission chances probably aren't hugely affected either way, unless maybe you're comparing it to a truly non-impacted major versus a highly impacted one like CS.
Let's clarify that impacted or screening part for business management economics again.
Right. To formally declare the major once you're at UCSC, you need a combined 2.8 GPA in Econ 1, Econ 2, and one of the calculus courses, all taken at UCSC.
Is that hard to achieve?
Most dedicated students manage it, but it's not automatic. If you don't meet that 2.8, you can't declare business management economics. You might be able to do the general economics BA instead. So you need to plan to work hard in those first-year courses.
When do you actually declare?
Usually towards the end of freshman year or early sophomore year. Once the prerequisites are done and the GPA is met, there's advising support to help you navigate this.
What about listing an alternate major?
You can list a second choice. UCSC admits to the university first, then sorts majors, so it's usually not a huge factor unless your first choice is denied and your alternate is open. Trying to game the system by applying to an easier major to switch later probably won't work for business management econ because of those specific qualification rules.
Okay, last section here. Any final tips for putting together a strong, authentic application?
Be yourself in the essays. Use real stories. Explain why business economics interests you. Talk about challenges, leadership moments, things outside of academics. Show self-awareness.
Emphasize leadership.
Yes, and initiative. Wherever you took charge or made something happen, focus on impact. Quality over quantity, always.
What if you've done entrepreneurial stuff?
Definitely highlight that. Or any analytical activities, competitions, a small venture you started. Explain what you learned, maybe about cost control or marketing.
Letters of rec, just to reiterate.
Not needed for the UC app, but still good to build relationships with teachers for the future.
And the basics.
Apply on time November 30th. Start essays early. Get someone to proofread them. Double-check your self-reported courses and grades. Check your email for any follow-up from UCSC.
Excellent. So let's quickly recap the key takeaways from this deep dive.
Okay. The UCSC Business Management Economics program really offers this unique blend of economic theory and hands-on business practice. That Silicon Valley location is a major plus for opportunities. The curriculum builds a strong foundation, then allows specialization, notably with that unique accounting concentration. And applied learning through internships and labs is huge.
And on the admissions side, remember it's holistic review. They look at the whole picture, grades, rigor, activities, essays. AG courses are essential. Aim for a strong GPA. But standardized tests like the SAT attacker are completely out of the picture. You can apply directly to the major, but be prepared to meet that 2.8 GPA requirement in key prerequisites once you're on campus.
And UCSC really seems to value enthusiasm for learning and understanding your potential contribution. Even if you don't get into the major directly, if you're admitted to UCSC, you still have the path open to pursue it by hitting those prerequisites.
Great point. So as a final thought for you, the listener, reflect on what aspects of this UCSC program really connect with your specific goals and interests in business and economics.
Yeah, maybe check out the UCSC Economics Department website. If you can, try to connect with current students. Really think about how this specific program with its unique blend and location could be the launch pad for your future.